Now, before we get into this video, I would like to show you 3 images from a roll of film that I shot and developed that went wrong somehow. And it took me personally quite a while to realize what exactly went wrong. And I want to see if you guys are smarter than me. So if you have any idea what went wrong with these images, leave a comment down below and we'll see how many people will guess, and I'll reveal the solution in the video. So leave a comment down below. While you're at it, consider subscribing if you're new to this channel, and let's get into the video. Alright, so if you've seen my other videos, you'll know that I've started using my Leica M3 and M6 on a regular basis for the past couple of weeks. And today I'd like to look back on these past couple of weeks, which were, the beginning of my journey in film photography, the beginning of my journey with shooting rangefinders. And I'll just share my experiences, my learnings, share some mishaps and fails that happened along the way. And I'll show you some nice images that I enjoy from that time. And I'm afraid I also have some bad news. When I first started, I used the M6, which already had a roll of film in it. And there wasn't really much on there that I enjoyed in terms of images. In fact, this one is the only one that I really like. I saw those birds coming along and just very quickly managed to snap this one shot. And I got really lucky because I think they are in a nice position in the frame. I managed to nail the exposure for the sky, and I just think those birds really make the image. I then moved on and used a roll of Cinestill 50D that I still had lying around. I once bought those couple of rolls of Cinestill 50D thinking, oh my god, it's cinema film and I'm going to shoot all of those rolls and it's going to be so epic. And I ended up shooting one roll on an SLR I have and got it developed, and it wasn't that great, and then I stopped. So I thought, might as well use up those rolls before I buy anything new. And this is a nice example of the Leica lens, rendering very interesting out of focus background here. You've got this whirl going on here, which makes it kind of interesting, I think. This one I really like. Again, same day, and those colors. I think I wouldn't have gotten that kind of color in that frame with a digital camera. This is another example of absolutely gorgeous color rendering. I love these yellows and that really soft blue up here. After that, I used my first roll of black and white film. This was the first time that I was kind of thrown off because I didn't really know what was going on here. Why is this all black down there? I didn't really think much of it at the time. I thought, well, maybe I messed something up in terms of developing or whatever. But yeah, as it turns out, it seems to be a bigger problem than that. This is kind of funny because I really had that light bulb moment where I thought, oh wow, there's lens distortion in that image. It's funny because you forget about that, because with the rangefinder you obviously don't see through the lens, so you also don't see any of the distortion happening. That's actually one thing that is still fairly new to me. I still kind of forget when I look through that rangefinder that I'm not seeing what the camera is actually seeing. Yeah, I can't imagine putting lens caps on my lenses, for example, because I would simply forget to take them off before I shoot. I would look through the viewfinder and just shoot, and I probably wouldn't even notice there's a lens cap on the lens. But here is my favorite shot that I have taken for a long time. This is, I don't know, it's a very happy accident basically. Yeah, I took several frames there, and this one just ended up being so perfect with the dark bird in front of the brighter sky, and the bright looking bird is in front of the dark tree, and both have their wings out, and they are both flying in different directions, and both of them have groups of other birds on their side. Kind of a nice shot as well. Those black and white images are really moody. They really feel almost like it's straight from a Hitchcock movie or something. So yeah, kind of suits the birds, I guess. Now guess what happened here? Guess what happened there? I had a roll of Kodak Gold 200, and it was a roll of 24 exposures. And I put that one in the camera and I just started shooting and completely forgot about the fact that it's just 24 exposures. I just shot 36 exposures, and that's what I got. And it's so interesting because if you think about it, I exposed that frame like 10 times, 12 times, and there's still, all the images are there basically. I would have thought exposing it so often would just eliminate everything altogether, you know. I can see some of the images I took later on that I really spent some time on. I thought, oh, that's nice, and I'm going to frame this like this, and it's going to be awesome. And they are in here somewhere, just not the way I intended to. So you may have noticed me talking about those irregularities in my exposures, those stripes that are, stripes in the exposure that are darker or brighter than the rest of the image, or images disappearing after 2/3 of the frame. So I discovered a store around here, and I went there, and they seemed to know their way around film cameras. And they basically confirmed that it pretty surely is a shutter issue. And the problem is that it's very common actually that when these cameras just aren't used for decades basically, the lubricant in there just dries up and prevents the shutter from running smoothly. And then, you get those kind of problems. You can bring it in for service, but the service is 1,100 euros. So that's what you get for shooting Leica, I guess. But yeah, it's unfortunate, but it's the same thing with different old things. If you have old cars or other old technical things, it's always nice and fascinating to use them, but they have to be well maintained, and they have to be repaired at some point, and you just have to take care of them. Now back to those images I showed you at the beginning of the video. I wonder how many of you guessed correctly. The thing was, I developed that roll of film myself, right? And I had that bottle of developer, which was still that much in it, basically. And I looked at that and thought, well, that's perfect. That's just about the amount I need for one roll. I'll just pour that in and that's fine. And I looked at those images and I thought, damn, that stupid shutter issue again. Now it's really getting bad. Every single frame of that roll is affected now. I really can't use that camera anymore, But then at some point it clicked and I realized it's not the shutter issue. I just didn't use enough developer. The amount in the bottle that I thought was perfect for one roll wasn't perfect. It was perfect for half a roll and a little bit, but it was just not enough for a whole roll. So if you imagine the roll on the reel sitting in the tank, and you pour in not enough developer, it's not fully submerged, right? The developer doesn't completely submerge the film, so it only develops half of it. So yeah, that's what the problem was. Yeah, those are just, those little fails and mishaps that happen when you when you start getting into this kind of stuff. So thanks for sticking around. If you haven't already, consider subscribing and leave your thumbs below, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.